safety, security, stability. I have never had those things in my whole life, and out here I have them.
It is known as the last free place in America.
Where we still have community and we're trying to hold on to that. It's almost like a tribe that hasn't been contacted.
Remote living for people who can no longer afford the so-called real world.
You find everything. There's folks literally living under a bush.
But this escapism comes at a cost.
There's no infrastructure out there for say like sewage or water lines, you know, it's a desert.
The crippling cost of living is forcing people to find another way of surviving. Is off-the-grid living a realistic solution for lower-income Americans? The cost of living in America is rising. For some, it is crippling. The prices of basic essential goods and services, like food and housing, have risen faster than the overall rate of inflation. America is feeling the crunch, and for some, the only solution is to escape.
I'm driving deep into the California desert. We're looking for a place called Slab City. It calls itself the last free place. It's an off-the-grid community. It's an alternative lifestyle. People here don't pay taxes. They don't really have jobs. They exist mostly on a barter system. And it's on the site of an old US military base. The people out here come for a lot of different reasons. Some to escape the high cost of living in California cities, and some just as refugees from the American way of life.
Slab City, known locally as the Slabs, is a community living in the Sonoran Desert of California. The name comes from the concrete slabs that were left behind when the World War II Marine Corps training center called Camp Durlap was torn down. It's remote and incredibly hot in the summertime. But in the winter, Slab City is extremely popular with people who call themselves snowbirds. That's when the population here can be as high as about 4,000 people. I've come to find out how people live here and why. Bill Amon is known as the dad of Slab City. He's lived in the slabs for more than 20 years, and he's a sort of unofficial leader of the community here.
Yeah, this was a military base in World War II. I think they had artillery people here. And this isn't where the military stuff was going on, but this is where I suppose they had those tent cities, you know, like the military makes, the half wood, half tent. And this was one of the mess halls. I don't know how many guys it must have had. It must have been thousands to have 4 big mess halls like this.
So what used to be the mess hall, you've converted into the range.
Yeah, well, they call it Slab City because that's all that's left is the foundations. That's where the name comes from.
Bill says he's seen a lot of change over the years, particularly in terms of the community becoming more self-sufficient.
How long have you had the solar up here? Is that a year ago?
3-4 months now.
Oh, 3-4 months, pretty soon.
I mean, we've always lived on solar. See, there's the system for the house over there.
Yeah.
And there's the system for that trailer there. So they had small systems, you know.
Yeah.
But it's enough. You know, I keep my batteries charged and the computer running and all that stuff. Okay, get back there. Go back to your place. And you see, this is where my desk where I operate from most of the time. It's the appropriate amount of clutter.
That's about what my desk looks like at home too. So.
And you know, there's a toilet that drains into a hole, and there's the stove's in the other motorhome, but we live like people do, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here we are at the Oasis Club. Now the Oasis Club is, well, I could tell you the stories, but that's a different.
Please
that's
feel
more
free.
stories. But we're a center of social life here in Slab City. We have coffee every morning and breakfast on Sunday. And last night was our little acoustic night thing, where people sit around and sing songs.
Bill was one of the first residents to settle at the Slabs on a permanent basis.
I was working construction jobs, and construction job ends, you got to go find another one. And you start getting an age where there's a little gray hair, and they start thinking you can't keep up, and they don't want to hire you. And pretty soon you're on the street in a van, hassling with the San Diego Police Department, just looking for a place to sleep at night. You get a poverty ticket, like say you don't have money for registration for your van, so you get a ticket for that, and you didn't have the money to pay the registration. Where are you going to get the money to pay the ticket, right? Till finally they arrest you and tell you owe them a ridiculous amount of money, and at that point you just get out of town, right?
Yeah.
This is the most out of town place. And I'd heard about it from others who had followed the same path ahead of me, And so I came here.
But describe Slab City for somebody who's never heard of it. What is this place?
Here's how I describe it. It's a piece of land that's so useless, so unwanted, so desolate, that they don't care if we stay here. There's nothing you can do here. It's uphill from the water. You can't farm here. It's too far away from the city to sell houses here. Just generally useless,
So what is life like out here for the average citizen of Slab City?
You find everything. There's folks literally living under a bush. There's folks that came here with $100,000 motorhome, and every step in between you'll find here. Every county should have a Slab City. A place where people who aren't on board the system can go and not be punished for it.
Bill runs a music venue here at Slab City called The Range. It hosts live musicians every week. He enjoys building community here and believes that the Slabs offer an escape, an alternative way of living for those he calls refugees, people who cannot cope with the constraints of the everyday real world.
How many people do you think live out here?
1,000 now, maybe? That's just a wild guess, so I don't know how to count them.
But there's no, just for the viewers to understand, there's no government, there's no taxes, there's no laws. You kind of just self-governing, doing your own thing.
We live in this limbo here where nobody wants to be responsible for dealing with our,
Yeah.
And so we get in a little bubble that hides away from the world.
Yeah.
Slab City has become a haven for artists. The area known as East Jesus is home to all manner of art installations, photography, performance art, and most prominently, sculptures.
So our property is 30 acres, about 10 for the public garden and 20 for private residencies. Yeah, this place has been going for 20 years, so you can see like how layered and detailed it is.
Hey.
Hi. I'm one of the resident artists, and I live on site usually from October to May. There always has to be someone on property to watch the art and hold on to the space.
And how did it start originally?
So originally, this place was the unofficial dumping ground for Slab City, like the landfill of the place. But then our founder, Charlie Russell, who worked with Leonard on Salvation Mountain, came here and saw the dumping ground for what it could be, like a wealth of resources for sculptors. So
That's awesome. Can you show me a little bit more of the infrastructure in here?
for sure, let's do it. Herb garden,
Wow.
skylight lounge, we've got a music room and a usable baby grand. Just last week we had 3 different bands come and do sets
Oh, wow.
for us.
And then do people, like resident artists like yourself, are you adding on to like this structure here? Are you adding on to stuff out there?
Always. I just glued up that little sticker of that cat screaming this morning. So.
Oh. So it's kind of this like living, evolving space that artists live in and present their work.
Exactly. You're starting to get it.
Starting to figure it out a little bit.
This is our library.
Oh, wow.
This is my favorite section because it's almost like a start from scratch. Like, God forbid something happened to the internet today, we would be very well off.
What kind of books are in here?
Gardening, construction, human waste composting, math, science, music. It just feels good to hold information in your hand, to really own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like there's so much today, it's all subscription based. You don't own anything anymore.
Yeah. What drew you to coming out here? It sounded like it was quite the process to get here for you.
I was burnt out by the world.
Yeah.
One of our mission statements here is that this place is a sheltered workshop.
Okay.
Specifically for folks, artists who would have otherwise fallen through the cracks of society.
The community here is known for experimental artwork. It's a place where people feel they can try out more unconventional forms of expression that perhaps wouldn't be as welcomed elsewhere.
Was there an acclimation process for you moving out here?
You mean to the weather, to the culture?
All of it.
No. When I got here, it felt like a drowning person getting a breath of fresh air. I remember when I first came out here in the first few weeks, my boss, Jen, said to me, like, the veil is thin out here and the desert provides. And I found that to be true. But here we have our boneyard.
Okay. What is the boneyard?
It's a term that means like collection of resources for
Okay.
sculptors.
Okay.
But it's come a long way from being a landfill. That was 30 years ago, and slowly over time, like, it's been sorted out. We can walk through. It's surprisingly organized for giant heaps of trash.
Yeah. But the artists, they kind of just walk through here and they find what calls to them and they use it.
Just like what we're doing now. You can say, oh, that looks like a sculpture. That looks like a sculpture.
Do you feel like there's any like major misconceptions about East Jesus and Slab City that you hear from a lot of people coming through?
Misconceptions. It's hard to say. I can't read other people's minds, but from what I know and from what I hear, at the end of the day, like, Slab City is in all essentiality a ghetto. But beyond that, it's community and folks coming together, and what happens to a body when you stop living and you have to just start surviving. It's a place where a lot of people come when they don't have anywhere else to go, but it's also like retirees, artists. It's not all addicts or criminals or homeless tents. Like, people build a life here. They build out their area, they get their solar, they get their gardens. There's a taste of freedom every day when you wake up.
The most popular and probably the most famous slabber and artist was Leonard Knight, the artist who created Salvation Mountain. For over 25 years, Knight lived out of his truck and worked constantly on his colorful art mountain, which now marks the entrance to Slab City. The population here includes the young, including school-aged children. A school bus comes to Slab City each day for pickups and drop-offs. One of the most popular places for young residents of Slab City is the skate park, made in the old Marine Corps pool that was left behind.
Hello, I'm Carlos, and we're at Slab City Skate Park. I've been kind of building here for the past 5 years. Been coming here for 10.
Where'd you get the idea to build a skate park out here? Like, what was the start of that?
Well, all old swim pools become DIY skate parks, and this is a nice canvas.
But like, why build a skate park out here?
Anywhere else I try to go build it, the city officials will go and just rip it out within a week or 3 years. So over here I can build it, and there's not going to be some city council member that's like, we need to remove this, or some city inspector come rip it out.
Slabs is such an interesting place. Like, do you think it's changed in the time you've been coming here?
Oh yeah, this place is blown up. The population's boom. I remember when I first started coming here, there was barely any RVs around.
B is a resident of Slab City and has been assisting Carlos with the everyday upkeep of the skate park.
It's my birthday, so it means it's my birthday.
How long have you been staying out here in Slabs?
I come in the winter. I'm a snowbird, you could say, and my first year was last year, but I love it. I remember when I first got here, I was like, I could stay forever.
What do you like about it?
Stability, honestly. I've been struggling to be off of the road for like a while now. I think it's been like 3 years that I've wanted structure and a routine and safety, security, stability. I have never had those things in my whole life, and out here I have them. 4 walls and a roof around myself. I know what I'm gonna wake up to every day, and I'm not getting hassled by the cops because I'm sleeping outside. So that's awesome.
Is it dangerous to live out in Slabs?
It can be. I'm certain that it is. Like, you know, if you want to start a fight with somebody, and yeah, I mean, like, that's really. I don't really, like I said, I don't go out and hang out with people who I don't know. I kick it with the community, and I stay, and I've had no problems. And I've been in way more dangerous places than Slab City. I lived in New Orleans all by myself for like a month one time, and I had to like move sleep spots every night because you don't want to sleep in the same spot twice in New Orleans, especially as a young girl all by yourself. Like, it's not a thing. I think that anybody who is like me seeking stability and can't get it in the real world, because I tried, you know, so anybody that's seeking stability over many years and wants it and comes out here is probably gonna want to stay.
My name is Waterboy. I live in Slab City. I've been here 15 to 17 years, give or take, because you start losing track of time out here. This community is unlike any other community, where we still have community and we're trying to hold on to that. In a sense, we don't want to lose some of what we call Babylon is lost, and that's the base of love and affection inside of our community.
What's Babylon? Explain that for people.
Anybody that lives in the city, the U.S. government, towns, and outside of Slab City, right? Like, we still have the law here. We still have sheriffs that come through here and patrol every day. We're not lawless. We still have, I've been to prison here, but out there, you have different rules you got to live by. You know what I mean? We live by a different set out here, to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? We don't have lights like all the time. We go to bed when the dark comes.
Why do you guys call it Babylon? Like, what's the origin of the name?
Babylon is a name for a really nice town. It was more of a city. You had kings, you had rulers. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where we don't have somebody looking over our shoulder all the time.
How did you end up here in Slab City?
Me and my family broke down here. I came with my my daughter and my baby mama. She wasn't pregnant at the time. Well, we made a wrong turn on the 10, and I seen sand dunes, and we didn't have, like, we were still using road atlases. And the cop was like, "Hey, you can go live out there for free." And so we found a tree, and we started building camp. And problem with coming to Slabs as a couple, and a lot of couples find this out, and I found this out too, is that it is one person falls in love with the place and one person falls in love with getting away from the place.
Yeah. Waterboy plays an integral part of life here, running a cafe and a care kitchen for people who need to eat for free.
Slabs is one community out of many. We're one of the longest runnings, but you have different van lives, van communities, different campgrounds that camping or people are meeting up in different spots because like nobody wants to work until they die and not have like, so you don't own anything in this country either. And that's another thing people are realizing. You used to own your house, they said, but it was really just a ploy because you're going to pay your property tax, your tax on your house after you bought it. Same with your car. They can take everything. You know what I'm saying? And people are tired of that. Like we still got to play with our cars. Our cars are still legal, but we're one less thing that they can take from us. What if they take Slab City? I've been here 17 years.
Is it dangerous to live out here?
As much as you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like murders here happen. Murders where you're from happen. We have some simple assaults. And when a murder happens, the sheriff's department gets involved.
There are obvious concerns about a community like Slab City. Out in the middle of nowhere with no official regulation, it could be a haven for drug abuse. And if crime takes place, how would you deal with it? But during my short time here, I have seen a sheriff's deputy patrol. I want to find out more about how the police department deals with a community who see where they live as the last free place in America.
Do you guys generally patrol out there, or are you just kind of responding to calls as they come up?
Both. That's in one of our areas of responsibility, and we patrol out there on a regular basis, as well as any law enforcement calls for service. We respond out there as well. One of the challenges that we have, especially when we get newer deputies, is learning the area, learning the people, and where their camps are kind of located to get to know the area and the people. It's a little bit of everybody that comes through there. You get everyone from retiree snowbirds from the Canada area that just want to be out in the desert in their, $100,000 RV, and then you get the person that comes in on foot or jumps a train into the area and living under a bush or in a tent.
When we were out there earlier today, we saw, 4 or 5 kids walking around, school-age kids, and I was just kind of curious, does having kids out there, does that present any sort of higher risk for the kids? Is there schools out there? Like, how does that work?
You were out there, you can make your own assumptions as to what, dangers or not dangers there are, but again, we do go out there, the school bus goes out there, and I know our social services is out there, dealing with different people at different times, just like they would in any city. So one of the things that I've seen over the years is there's this perception that it's lawless out there, that no laws apply or that they're free to do whatever they want. Commonly, you'll hear them say it's the last free place in America. I can assure you that there are laws. It is patrolled by law enforcement. But again, we're not going to say who can and cannot be out there on that land.
The last remaining global superpower, and a place where business can boom. America is still a place of dreams for so many who want to settle here. And yet, hidden behind these images of high life living, life here is becoming far too expensive for far too many. Latest figures show that 1/3 of Americans struggle to pay for basic needs. And the simple fact is that it is too expensive to live in most places in the country, and incomes often fall short of local cost of living. In 2024, the metric of housing affordability hit the highest level since 1984, and 6 of the 10 least affordable housing markets are located here in California. Many come to Slab City because they simply cannot afford to live elsewhere, and the community cares for people who need food and water.
Well, we offer three free meals every week, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday is our breakfast. Thursday and Sunday are our dinner at 4 o'clock, breakfast at 10 on Saturdays. We offer a community water tank, 2 free gallons a day because 2 gallons will save your life. Water's life. Without that, you die out here. And not everybody has easy access to drinking water. Instead of drinking out of the cow, come get you 2 free gallons.
I've noticed a strong sense of community in the slabs during my time here. Even without an official leadership structure, some residents have become organizers and are taking responsibility for the care of others.
We do have some people that don't have places to stay. It's because of drugs and other things, but you know what I mean? And those people, just because they have problems, I've been on the other side, just because they have problems don't mean that you don't need to look out for them.
Yeah.
Don't mean that, and we didn't have a way to look out for those folks. Like you've seen it. Some of those people that came through that line today, and you can rewatch your camera, were hungry. You could see it on their face. You know what I'm saying? And through the year, through the summer, that's the people that might not make it. But by giving them 2 gallons of water a day and a meal, you're still there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look out for your fellow man, and nobody does that anymore.
This life is not for everyone, and there are inevitable risks to living off-grid. But what I've experienced here at Slab City has surprised me.
Close to 1,000 people live out here in the slabs, sometimes called the last free place. Those who I spoke to in my 2 days here told me that they fled American society because they couldn't find community, the cost of living was too high, and they felt there was something wrong with American society. Out here, they say, they've found community and family and perhaps some peace. The lifestyle is different, there is no arguing that. And yes, there is crime, there is some lawlessness. But largely, it's a group of people who seem to look out for one another. They say that this is where they want to spend the rest of their lives.